Sometimes the best thing you can do for your peace, your power, and your purpose is disappear and let them feel your absence. Listen, in a world that teaches you to chase, to prove, to please, there's power in pulling back. There's wisdom in silence, and there's transformation in distance. Most people don't understand this. They think the more they give, the more they'll be respected. The louder they speak, the more they'll be heard. But here's the truth. Sometimes your energy is being wasted on people who stopped listening long ago. Sometimes your presence has become too familiar to be appreciated. Denzel Washington once said, "You pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud too." Meaning, when you're constantly available, constantly showing up for everyone, you start to sink in the mud of their expectations. You lose yourself in trying to be seen, while forgetting that the most powerful people in the room are often the quietest. There comes a time when you must let them miss you. Let your absence speak the truth your words could never say, because silence is not weakness and it's a statement. Distance is not avoidance and it's clarity. When you walk away, not out of anger but out of self-respect, everything changes. The people who once overlooked you begin to notice the gap your energy used to fill. The world that took your consistency for granted suddenly realizes how rare your presence was. This isn't about revenge. It's not about ego. It's about self-worth. You see, sometimes God isolates you to show you your own strength, to remind you that your peace matters more than their opinion. When you step back, you allow your energy to reset. You give yourself the space to rebuild your purpose, your focus, your confidence. When they no longer have access to your time, your laughter, your loyalty, they'll start to feel the difference. That's when you win. Not because you punished them with silence, but because you elevated yourself with peace. So today I want to break this down for you. 5 powerful truths that will help you understand why letting them miss you is one of the most powerful moves you'll ever make. Because when you stop chasing and start choosing yourself, everything changes. The world tells you to speak up, to argue, to prove your point, but let me tell you something powerful. Silence is not the absence of strength. It's the presence of control. When you're silent, you're not ignoring anyone. You're mastering yourself. You're saying, "I no longer need to explain what only actions will reveal." Too many people waste energy trying to convince others of their worth. They talk, they argue, they beg for understanding. But the truth is, real confidence doesn't scream, it whispers. Silence forces people to pay attention. When you stop reacting, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability makes people curious, even cautious. Think of Denzel Washington. Calm, composed, but his presence fills the room. That's not noise, that's energy. You don't have to announce your worth. Your energy already does that. When you go silent, you give the world a chance to feel your absence. People who are used to your constant attention suddenly start wondering what changed. And in that wondering, they grow respect. Silence teaches people boundaries. It says, "You don't get to have access to me whenever you please." It reminds them that your attention is not cheap. It's earned. The more you explain, the less they value your words. But the moment you stop, your silence becomes the loudest sound they hear. And let's be honest, silence also protects your peace. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You don't need to respond to every rumor, every insult, every misunderstanding. The truth doesn't need defending. It stands firm on its own. While others argue in chaos, you move in purpose. So remember this. Silence doesn't mean you lost your voice. It means you've learned when to use it. When you choose silence, you're not retreating. You're recharging. You're focusing your energy on what matters most, your growth, your goals, your greatness. Because silence is the training ground of discipline. You can't rise if you're busy reacting. You can't heal if you're busy proving. You can't elevate if you're busy explaining. Learn to say less and let your actions do the speaking. The moment you master silence, you become unstoppable. When you step away, you discover who's really with you. Because distance has a funny way of showing who values your presence and who only used your energy. When you're no longer available, when your phone stops ringing first, when your effort slows down, watch who still checks in. True connection survives silence. Real relationships don't fade when you stop overgiving. The ones who love you, respect you, and see your worth, they'll feel your absence and reach out. The rest, they'll disappear, and that's your blessing. See, distance creates space for truth. You start realizing who was around for what you could do, not for who you are. It's not a loss, and it's a revelation. People come and go, but those who are meant for you will never let distance break the bond. You've been giving too much to people who give the bare minimum. You've been trying to keep connections alive that were already dying. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stop watering dead plants. Step back, let silence do the talking. If they care, they'll come. If they don't, let them go. Denzel once said, "If you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut." Meaning, who you surround yourself with shapes your life. And sometimes you've been sitting in the wrong room, waiting for validation that was never coming. Step out, distance yourself. Watch how quickly your peace returns. Because distance not only reveals others, it refines you. When you pull back, you reconnect with yourself. You hear your own thoughts again. You rediscover your purpose, your values, your goals. You start to realize how much energy you were spending just to be accepted. When you stop showing up everywhere, you become more powerful everywhere. The fewer places you go, the more impact you have when you do show up. That's what makes legends. Presence with purpose. So let them miss you. Because those who truly value you won't let distance destroy the connection. They'll bridge the gap with effort, with care, with love. And those who don't? They were never your people. Familiarity breeds comfort. And comfort breeds disrespect. When people see you every day, hear from you constantly, and always have access to you, they stop appreciating you. You become background noise. But when you step away, when you stop being so accessible, people begin to notice what's missing. Your presence starts to mean something again. That's the psychology of absence, and it restores value. When you're always around, people think they can always have you. But when you're gone, they start realizing how much you brought to their lives. Your energy, your wisdom, your support. That's when respect grows. Not when you demand it, but when your absence teaches it. It's like the sun. We take it for granted because it rises every morning. But imagine a day it doesn't. The whole world feels it. That's how your presence works. You don't need to prove your importance. Your absence will reveal it. This doesn't mean isolating yourself out of pride. It means knowing your value and protecting it. You can love people deeply but still know when to step back. You can be kind without being constantly available. When you set boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. Respect starts when you decide what you will and will not allow. And when you hold that line, the world adjusts. Denzel once said, "Don't confuse movement with progress." Sometimes, we're too busy being everywhere, doing everything, trying to please everyone, but not actually going anywhere. Respect doesn't come from movement. It comes from meaning, from having standards, from valuing your time and peace. So, step back, reclaim your value. Let your absence remind people that access to you is a privilege, not a right. When you finally step away from the noise, you discover something beautiful, yourself. Solitude is not loneliness. It's evolution. It's in the quiet moments that clarity appears. Most people fear being alone because they've never met themselves. But solitude is where greatness is born. It's where your thoughts sharpen, your vision clears, and your faith deepens. Every legend, from Denzel Washington to Kobe Bryant, had seasons of isolation. Seasons where they disappeared to build discipline, focus, and mastery. Because growth doesn't happen in crowds. It happens in silence. When you're alone, you stop performing. You stop pretending. You reconnect with your purpose. You begin to ask, what do I really want? What kind of person do I want to become? Those answers don't come from others. They come from within. Solitude heals. It rebuilds confidence. It restores peace. It helps you see who you were, who you are, and who you're meant to become. So don't fear the quiet. Embrace it. Because when you come back, stronger, wiser, calmer, the world will notice. When you've stepped away and rebuilt yourself, don't return for attention. Return with purpose. Don't come back to prove them wrong. Come back to prove yourself right. Your silence, your distance, your growth. It all means nothing if you return the same. Let your comeback speak volumes. Let your actions show that your time away wasn't isolation. It was preparation. Denzel said, "Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship." Meaning, don't go back to comfort. Go back to challenge. Come back focused, disciplined, unstoppable.